Get ready and action.
Peekaboo, I see you.
I am short, fat, and ugly, and that's how I feel, okay?
Just get me to a hospital.
A hospital? Have you looked in the mirror lately, burnt man walking?
You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor.
Hey, cut. That's a cut.
Welcome to E's behind-the-scenes look at Spawn.
Go!
Not bad. Don't get cocky. You have a lot more to learn.
The #1 selling comic book hits the big screen. In the next half hour, the stars reveal how they transformed into their Spawn characters.
I'm trying to get, used to this. Just like an eighth layer of skin.
Plus, we'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at the creation of Fire and Brimstone.
I wanted to create a chaotic, primordial place.
And the action hero gets an edgy sound. From the hottest comic book in the world comes a scarred and fearless action hero who takes on the baddest guy in town.
For me, it was like, well, who's the big bad guy I can come up with? And I went for the biggest, And I think we'd all agree, is the guy downstairs.
The hero who gives the devil his due is Michael Jai White. He plays Al Simmons, a government agent who's killed by his boss and later returns as Spawn.
He has to deal with issues of heaven and hell and his own sins, so to speak. And really, as an actor, that's a really challenging type of thing.
Spawn is the first African-American superhero to fly into the comic book pages.
It's great to be able to have children and, black and white all across the spectrum, be able to say, hey, Spawn is my favorite hero. He happens to be black. You can equate that to, African-Americans as you can to other nationalities.
When I was in college, my roommate was named Al Simmons. We played ball together, and he's a black man. I'm not here to say that I'm speaking for the voice of the black population, but it's more like, why not? Why couldn't we take anybody?
So far, more than 100 million Spawn comic books have been sold worldwide. One devoted Spawn fan knew Martin Sheen had to be in the movie.
I started growing a beard, and my grandson was visiting me. This is very early, the first few days that I was, involved. He said, what are you growing a beard for? I said, well, I'm going to do this movie called Spawn.
This kid's like a fanatic of Spawn, and it's like, oh, you would be the coolest grandfather of all time if you made this movie. I don't care if they only want to give you $1.45. It don't make no difference to me.
And he became speechless. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He said, seriously, Grandpa, are you in Spawn? They're going to do the movie? I said, yeah, what do you know about it? He said, oh, I've been reading it since the beginning. It's only the greatest comic book ever published.
Sheen portrays the calculating Jason Wynn, the head of A6, a twisted version of the CIA.
Why didn't you warn me about Simmons? Spawn was ready sooner than I expected. Don't get your panties in a wad. It's always bitching at me. Why didn't you tell me about Simmons? Why didn't you tell me it was gonna hurt? Am I gonna go to hell? I'll grow up, you sniveling ninny.
Wynn is hell-bent on ruling the world. In his evil attempt to take control, he's got to eliminate one person, his top assassin, Al Simmons. After being torched and sent to the fiery underworld, Simmons emerges as the disfigured Spawn. He's made a pact with the devil so he can return to Earth and see his beloved girlfriend.
This character, being that has everything taken away from him, the woman he loves that he so wants to reunite with has married his best friend. He's incinerated, amnesiac, and that's where we begin.
She feels that the presence of Spawn as well as something lurking over her.
And he's literally made a deal with the devil to deliver him a soldier who could become the general of Hell's army. The person who is designated to become this general is called Spawn, Hellspawn. And the guy who's selected is my best friend, Al Simmons, who's the top killer for the A6.
Spawn ultimately realizes that he wants to defend good, not evil. But one determined character is trying to lure him over to the bad side.
So I'm trying to trick him. Come here, I'm going to help you out. I'll let you have Wanda. So we trick him and trick him and trick him, hoping he'll lead the armies, make him mad, make him commit one more vile crime so his soul will be ours. And that's my mission.
John Leguizamo plays the devil's assistant, Clown. For Leguizamo, the role was even more demanding than playing a drag queen in Tu Wong Fu.
That was painful enough with, you know, the gender benders and that's what they call them, actually. And the plucking and the waxing and the shaving and all the nonsense. This was even more horrifying.
Horrifying because it took nearly 4 hours each day for both John Leguizamo and Michael Jai White to get into costume.
I was 400 pounds, 4'11", 400 pounds, little man.
Welcome to the Chubby Club.
I had to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, leave my house before any of the crew got there. My makeup artists were all like, okay, John, you ready to get up? I thought it would have cut me up or something.
It entailed coming in earlier than everyone else and getting prosthetic makeup applied to me. Well, glued to me, actually.
See, I can make all the expressions.
There are different changes in some of the outfits, but the inside is pretty much the same. You know, you're encased in the rubber, but the outside has some different details.
I would fall asleep for 3.5 hours, and the only thing I had to do was help them put the head on because it was like all cut up to the shoulder and my face would just stick out. Then I could go to sleep.
There's like 6 pieces all together. They glue them together and then they glue it down to my body and then they glue the suit onto that.
And then they would apply 3 prosthetic pieces, one that covered the forehead, one the nose in this area, the one over the lip, and they glued up to my eyeball. And then they would wake me up to put the contact lenses and the teeth, and then I had to go to another place to put on the fat suit.
I had the attitude of just point me. I'll be there. Oh, you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do that.
I had to hunch down and be crouched down like if I was on a toilet without a toilet. That's what I had to do through the whole entire movie.
You know what drives me crazy is when, like, on a hot day, everybody has to come up to me and say, "Isn't it hot in there?"
They had a cot, and they would pick me up, lay me on my cot, let me rest, and when they said action, they would bring me back to the set, you know, and I would go lay there somewhere and just drink tons of water.
There were times that we look at each other and go like, oh, what are we into? What do we get ourselves into, man?
During filming, Michael Jai White spent 4 hours in makeup each time he needed to transform into Spawn. But he didn't have to worry about his entire wardrobe. Most of his costume was computer generated. Director Mark Tappé has worked extensively with special effects. He wanted to bring Spawn's suit of armor to life.
We could not use cloth that hung on the ground like a vampire like Darth Vader. That is not Spawn. The cape had to always be alive and flowing. It was another character. It represented the thoughts and emotions of Spawn. It was always ready to pounce or to protect him.
One of the ones that we really had to work hard at was the cape, to make it, you know, big and imposing, but not dragging on the ground like a wedding dress, and it's like got dirty and you got to send it to the cleaners, right? And give that sense that it was a living tissue.
Tappé relied on computer graphics to create Spawn's headpiece and armor.
We have his chains and skull grabbers, and everyone ought to have a set of those. We have his crotch skull. It's very convenient for your average male. I certainly got a kick out of it.
We're also employing a lot of things so we can, for the first time, where we're using, in order to capture the way that, you know, Michael Jai White has moved, we're capturing his motion from motion capture data and inserting it into the Spawn costume for shots that we didn't get at the time, and having those battles run in conjunction with Violator.
The terrifying demon Violator is also a result of some high-tech computer work.
Violator in the comic book always has a jaw hanging open. He never closes his mouth. And as a consequence, it's got a very long lower jaw. When he closes his mouth, it looks silly. So I had the jaw be shorter and longer in the movie. There are lots of things like that that allowed it to be three-dimensionally alive in the film.
Computer graphics allowed technicians to make certain shots look believable. As you can see here, Violator is breathing. Many of the futuristic scenes were created with computer images.
I wanted to model hell as if you were falling down the throat of the devil and going to land in his belly somewhere. That was this image that I had. And again, that space could only be created using computer animation.
And then you get back on Earth into the alleyways of this, you know, it's like a New York City kind of gothic metropolis.
I can't remember a movie that took us to hell to begin with that was, you know, a literal kind of mythical hell, you know, where it's fire and you know, the hordes of hell. So in that sense, that's all new ground that they've broken in terms of that, and it doesn't let you down.
Director Mark Tappé used a particular style of music to further enhance the dark feel of the film.
My interest in music for this, and it's very much Spawn, is this industrial heavy metal style combined with a slightly futuristic edge of the electronic music, and that's the soundtrack we have.
could have gone a lot of ways with the music. Could have gone like a more gothic style or more score-oriented, but instead they went for a real rock and roll kind of sound.
There's this tweaked sci-fi aspect to it, and that was this electronic end, and it was a Graham's score combined with the music we got. I mean, it's fantastic.
In Spawn, John Leguizamo had no trouble playing the role of clown.
Who's your favorite clown?
I took some clowning classes, went to the Magic Castle, worked with a clown expert who made me do all the tricks, you know, climbing the Volkswagen with 20 clowns, the squirting flowers, the tripping, the pratfalls. Couldn't use any of it. I had a lot of humor that Mark allowed me to, you know, to really be free and make him funny, and we still kept the edge and all the comic book points. So, you know, so it was just like a great collaboration of elements.
Fun! Does this look like playland to you?
No.
No, he killed Jessica. He damn near killed me.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. On Action, Mr. Leguizamo was all over it, but they were uncomfortable in those costumes. So when the downtime was downtime, the guys were able to relax, you know, because he's got on a 400-pound fat suit.
What a terrifying nightmare this set is. Frightening, aren't we? Scaring you, the wind, the rustling of the leaves, the graves, all adds up to a macabre evening. Welcome to John Leguizamo's horrifying nights.
The clowning classes didn't help Leguizamo prepare for this scene, and computer animation didn't help either. These crawly creatures were alive and squirming.
I hate anchovies. There were like 100 maggots. I only ate like 4 or 5 of them, so don't worry about it. Because I took a bite of it and I said, get that camera focused, do it, get it ready, because I'm only doing it once, okay? So I went in there, put it in my mouth, chewed a few bites, swallowed a few, ran it around the corner, and spit that whole thing out because it was so nasty.
While John dined on some not-so-delicious delicacies, Martin Sheen kept the crew well-fed.
Not only did he bring a sense of legitimacy to it, because again, you know, he'd been around the longest, but he's really the nicest guy you'd ever wanted. I mean, you know, I'd see him like getting like juice for like the technicians and the key grips, you know. Does anybody need some water or Snicker bars? And you know, and he was just one of the guys, right? And he was a good man about it.
The Snickers bar on the set is worth a great deal, particularly in, you know, in the circumstances we were working in.
Oh, laid back. Martin Sheen is an amazing man. I mean, it truly was a blessing to have each person that was a part of it there. Everybody brought their own spirit and energy.
Background, action! Cut! And action! Ready, and action!
I trusted you.
Jesus.
How could you marry Wanda? How could you?
Al, when you died, Wanda was devastated. Do you know about Cyan?
Time to die, Jason. Damn.
Try and do us like, you know, we're pals, like it's a Hallmark thing.
Oh, okay,
A little more of that.
All right. And hopping, and parking, and doing it, and liking it.
You stay away from her.
I don't want Wanda. I just want you to take care of Win. And you and the army can kick some angelic buttocks. And in reward for your services, we'll get Wanda back for you. Hey, what the heck? You can have every one on the planet. Why settle for leftovers, huh?
Everyone knows that a superhero always gets an action figure, so of course you'll be seeing your favorite Spawn dolls in stores soon. But these dolls have a whole new look.
One of the things that you'll see, especially in this guy, is that the movie's dark and gritty and dirty. Well, this guy, if you take a look at him, he's dirty. You know, one of the things that was really odd with, we make most of our toys in China, that was really tough for them to get over the first couple of years was, I want my toys to look dirty and used.
My little poopa, hey, how you doing? Macarena, 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 Macarena. He moves, but not swiftly.
You want us to like put like black ink on it and rub it with a rag and make it look like it's been sitting underneath somebody's couch for a week? Yeah, that's it. That's what I want it to look like. And I mean, it really, they thought they'd get fired. And once they saw it, they didn't get fired when it looked dirty. And that the fans went, oh, it looks real, it looks urban. It doesn't look, I never wanted to make shiny plastic toys.
This looks just like the movie version of what I created. In the same little fat bill, except man, it's a happy trail. I had a happy trail in the movie, so you young ladies can look for that.
I've got like every rivet around his wrist. That's painted, you know. Could I have saved myself 2 cents a unit? Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of weird having little me's running around, I think, you know. But I really haven't really researched it in my mind on how much I feel about it.
If you make it look like a little mini statuette, and I don't want them to be toys, I want them to be little statues, so when you're done, you can put it on top of your computer at work and you don't look like a geek, you know, it's like, Fred, you know, do we need to take you out more often? And it just looks cool, and that's all it is. It's just, once you're done banging it against each other.
It's cool for my son to, you know, have a little model of his dad. When he gets mad at me, he can throw it up against the building.
Martin Sheen's action figure was a hit with his grandson.
I've been beatified as far as he's concerned. They don't even take it out of the container. They sent me a little model of the head before it went to the sculptor. I mean, when they finished the sculpting, and they wanted my approval, I thought, wow, it looked really striking. I guess I was a little pompous. I didn't want it appearing on toilet seats and you know, who knew what? You know, I didn't want it to be out of control. I just was embarrassed by it, you know. And he assured me that it would be done with great dignity and it would always stay in league with Spawn. It wouldn't be hurled out there and sold off to another company to make toilet seats or whatever I was concerned about, you know. And he assured me of that, and he's a man of his word, and I was very comfortable with it.
Now, not every character qualifies to be an action figure. At least one member of the Spawn cast has been left in the lurch.
I do not have one. It's a sore spot for me. I thought I was a lock to get one because I'm, you know, one of the main characters. But apparently there's not a big market for computer guys who wear tuxedos.
That's when I'm gonna have words choosing you over me.
Nobody makes choices for me.
You've been working overtime for 5 years getting this planet ready for your arrival. A perfect marriage of destruction and death.
And green flag. And action.
So, Malvolio went right past me. His most brutal and loyal lieutenant and picked you. You to be Spawn, General of Hell's Army. Whoa. So Malvolio skipped right past me. His most loyal and brutal lieutenant and picked you. You to be Spawn, General of Hell's Army. Woo!
Come on, go. Set, ready, and action.